Hello and welcome to Lemieux Reviews, where we bring you the stories you may not yet have heard of. My name is Rossamy, and today we are bringing you part 15 of Once and Future. Last time when we left off at part 14, Elaine had Rose at gunpoint. When we pick up with this issue, we're right back there. So please dive in with us as we get into this series. I chose for this cover's image the Doomsayer birds, resting upon a sword. Once and Future 15 was made by Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, and Tamara Bonnevillain. Produced by Boom Studios. This comic came out in January 20th, 2021. We start in Clifton, Bristol, with Nimue and Rose staring each other down. Nimue holding a gun to Rose. This is Rose's first time actually meeting Nimue in the flesh. So hostile introductions ensue. Nimue's first and immediate question is what Rose is doing with her son. Rose is in disbelief, shock showing on her face at such a weird and outlandish question. While they go to sit, they talk, and the person outside watches everything unfold and radios in for help. We jump to Avon, to the family home now run down and boarded up. They go to the front door and break it in. But before walking in, Duncan starts disarming Gran, stopping her from being able to do a repeat of the last time they were there, where she shot herself to make herself the Fisher King. When they get inside, it looks much worse than it had the last time they had been there. They head upstairs to the bathroom, where Gran explains that another story had unfolded in this room. And so they begin the ritual by filling up the tub with boiling water. Back with Rose and Nimue, Nimue is going to tell Rose her story, hoping to win the other woman over with her hardships she went through having Brigitte as a mother, taking off and showing Rose a locket. Nimue states that everything she had done was for her two children, whose pictures are in that very locket. But in Nimue's insanity, she admits she wanted to use her children as grail finders in hopes of changing the world, and that Gran went to great lengths to stop her and her father. Back at the family home, the tub is filled with boiling water, meaning the ritual was ready and they could follow in Rose's footsteps to figure out how she found a Lancelot. After looking fondly at Mary's photo, Gran throws it into the hot tub, covering it quickly, and just as quickly the lights start to change. It seems that the ritual was a success, for now they find themselves transported to a new place, a bluestone hall laid out before them. Duncan draws his gun, seeing that a man stands at the end of the hall. In the hall stands a single knight, one of King Arthur's greatest knights to ever have existed, Sir Lancelot. Lancelot pushes right past them, completely ignoring them as he makes his way to the tub, ripping off the top and shoving his arms in after the picture that's still inside, proving he and Elaine had met before. And back at the standoff, Elaine is telling her part of the story about how she found Lancelot just to have Galahad, how it had to be the very Lancelot and no stand-ins would substitute. A flashback shows us Mary's and her father setting up the ritual themselves with the boiling water in the tub, just like Gran and Duncan had done. Only instead of a photo being thrown in this time, the father throws in Elaine herself, holding her under the water till he can get the lid on to trap her inside. She claws at the top, trying to get out, until a hand that does not belong to her father reaches in to save her. We see the horror Mary went through, her whole body covered in burn marks from the water, horrifying Rose and incensing Mary. Duncan and Gran stand in shocked disbelief, with the night before them, Gran shattered by the lengths her daughter took to accomplish her task. Lancelot finds Elaine's photo and grows enraged at the sight of it, neither of them being able to understand the dialect of French the knight is using, which starts a quibbling match between the two over whose use of French is worse, and how Duncan's taste in cars is awful. Lancelot grows impatient and reaches for his sword. And now Nimue is ranting about how the world is evil and needs to be fixed, and how Gran is on the true side of evil. She speaks of controlling the dreams to shape the world the way they want it to be. She demands for information from Rose, but Rose, being brave, doesn't back down and faces Nimue. But with Rose's refusal, Nimue now realizes how useful Rose is and what an impediment she might be to their plans, and decides to end Rose and take her off the board. At that moment, a boot comes through the door and Mary opens fire at the entrance. In response, they throw in a flashbang grenade, which hits the floor, and Mary bolts for the... When she hits the first few steps, the grenade goes off. 2 SWAT team members bust in and open fire, but only manage to hit the stairs. The 2 men move on Nimue, a third stepping down and checking on Rose, only for yet another gun to be shoved in the face of Rose, this time by a man named Sir Jason Hempleworth, who now wants a word with her on her deeds with Duncan and Gran. And there we have Once and Future 15. No wonder Mary is such a mess. Her mother taking her firstborn son, and the horrors her father put her through as he could bring back his glory days. The psychological and physical scars that she endured must be tremendous. Then we have our first glimpse of Lancelot. It looks like they modeled him after his background of having grown up with the Lady of the Lake. He's an ethereal blue with fins coming off of his armor. This issue answered the question of why Galahad was the way he was. He acts that way because he is the child of a human and a story Lancelot. Overall, I like how they didn't just make Lancelot like all the other knights, who are ghouls or zombies. Giving him his own separate flair and style was the right move. Plus, taking us through Gran's discovering all her daughter went through and the doubt and regret she is facing is such a great touch in character building. Though Duncan not showing much emotion towards it is a bit of a misstep, since he is learning all of this for the first time. And that's all we have for this issue, Once and Future 15. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think down below. And please join us next time for issue number 16.